Good evening, guys. Hi, hope everybody's doing well. Hi, it's Rob here for a little bit of a belated January vinyl update. I've obviously, like everybody else in here in the UK, I've not been able to get to any shops because there's nothing open. You're not allowed to go anywhere. Obviously no boot sales, car boots, fairs, etc. All the things that I used to kind of go to on occasion to get my vinyl fix. That obviously hasn't been happening. So obviously pretty much across the board. So yeah, I've resorted to the evils of Amazon and online to get my quota of vinyl pleasure, as they say. So these are basically what I've picked up since kind of probably about the first week of January. I think I've got about 11 to show. There's a couple that are delayed for some reason. Don't know why. Maybe there's a problem with the distributor. I didn't really want to. I wanted to get this video in before the end of the month, so I didn't sort of fall too far behind. Okay, so obviously I hope everybody's doing really well. Obviously it's very cold here in the UK at the moment. There's a lot of snow around, and obviously we had all that last weekend. Looks like we're getting it again this weekend as well. So it's not the best, but who cares? It's always warm inside when you've got your music. So let's not procrastinate anymore, and I'm going to crack on with this. So first off, these are kind of in sort of semblance of some sort of order of which I received them. I'm going to sort of stick to that going through. So they are kind of chronological. So the first one right at the top was this. Tom Petty, Wildflowers, and all the rest. This is a fabulous Tom Petty album. Me and the rest of the vinyl collecting community, I'm sure, all have a copy of this in some shape or form. Long awaited, fantastic reissue of this wonderful 90s album. I was sort of tempted to go for the mega super box set, all singing, all dancing, CDs, DVDs, etc., book, and all the rest of it. But I kind of balked at the price. So it was quite expensive. So this kind of expanded 3LP edition will kind of do for me. The third album, the rest, is probably actually my favorite. I really enjoy that. As great as the main album is, and it's nice that they've done that over 2 LPs. So it's not too, it's the sound quality is really good on it. And happy to pick this up. I mean, I will show it, but I'm sure you've all seen it anyway. So obviously it's like a trifold. There we go. Fantastic picture of Tom with his Telecaster there in the middle. Obviously we've got the inner sleeves with the lyrics on. I'll just show the one because they're all pretty much the same or very similar. So really pleased with this. Sounds great, and is a fabulous, wonderful addition to Tom Petty's catalogue. Fabulous stuff. Okay, so the next one is quite controversial, and I'm not going to get into politics and stuff over this. I really like this artist, but obviously I don't condone his politics, etc. I think he's been a bit of an idiot, quite honestly. But yeah, I really, really like this album. And yeah, I saw it was available, and I thought I'd go and get it. So this is Pom Pom, Ariel Pink. This is from 2014 release. So yeah, um, great record. This is fantastic pop album. It's sort of considered to be his kind of white album, I guess, in terms of its kind of eclecticness. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of all over the map. Those that know or appreciate Ariel Pink. Yeah, it's a great album. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's worth it for the last track, "Dazed in Daydreams," which is just just amazing pop song, just brilliantly conceived. The video as well, I thought, that went with it was really good. I love that kind of idea, the story with the aging, rock star, and he's kind of in this mundane job, and he's just looking to kind of break out for one last performance, and just hits the stage, and it's like, way, absolutely just fantastic. Yeah, just great. I mean, this album isn't perfect by any means, but the highlights for me are really high. He's just got a great pop sensibility. He's inventive. He borrows heavily from the past, but somehow manages to kind of Ariel Pink it to his own. Sort of idiosyncratic kind of way, and it's great. So yeah, and I just think it's such a shame that his career is now completely and utterly down the toilet. Seems a real waste of talent, but there you go. Okay, so changing it up completely, Alan Static Traveller is never short on showing stuff that's very inspirational for me, and this one was no exception. I think he showed this last year. This is a reissue of the wonderful classic prog folk album by Jan Dukes de Grey. This is Mice and Rats in the Loft. Yeah, I just had to get this. This is just fabulous. So yeah, wonderful cover there. Guys on the back. Yeah, and this was released in 1971. They are kind of British acid folk outfit that started off in 1968, founded by Derek Noy and Michael Bairstow. And yeah, this is their kind of sort of their masterpiece from 1971, and it's one of those albums. I sort of liken it, even though it doesn't sound like it, but to something like Music in a Doll's House by Family. It's just it just changes all the time, and just everything segues into one another. Just wonderfully creative and free in its attitude, and the music. Brilliant music. Every turn is just fabulous. Weird chord changes, strange arrangements, really odd, but musical, and not dissonant really at all. It has a few dissonant moments, but it's very, very strong melodically, which is probably why I like it so much. But yeah, a fascinating piece of art. It's just musical art. It's wonderful record, and highly recommend it. Okay, sort of keeping in the prog kind of folk sort of vein. This is an album that came out for Record Store Day, which sadly I missed out on, and my record guy Ben sadly couldn't get me another copy, probably because it's sold out, understandably, because it's just it's so good. So I ordered this online through Amazon from a private seller in France. And yeah, this is Mellow Candle and Swaddling Songs. So yeah, this is just a fantastic sort of prog psych album from 1972, I think. Yeah, just wonderful, wonderful album. Two female singers taking the lead, and just every song is just hauntingly beautiful and wonderfully arranged. Strange, folky, yeah, a little bit traditional as well. First track on side two, Reverend Sisters, is probably my favorite. I absolutely love that track. Yeah, that's the gatefold and the lyrics. But yeah, I mean, this was I wasn't quite sure what I was getting with this, because I knew it wasn't billed as a record store day release, because I don't think they actually had any left on Amazon. So, but yeah, I mean, this is kind of like a really solid, hard cover. I think it says on the back it's limited to 1,000 copies. And when was this actually released? Let me just see if there's a date on it. I don't think there is, actually. So it really, yeah. I need to do a bit more investigation into this, because I've not come across this. I don't have any kind of reference point for this with this pressing at all. But yeah, I mean, it sounds great, and you know, I'm very pleased with it. So and yeah, if you didn't get to pick up a copy of this, strongly urge you to. I'm sure it'll probably get repressed or reprinted at some stage. Wonderful stuff. Okay, so obviously I've been it's getting into more and more into kind of jazz, classic kind of jazz over the last few months, and a couple I got here, sort of classics, which I'm not going to go into too much detail on, because you know every man and his dog knows these records, really. So, but this is Bill Evans, and everybody digs Bill Evans. This is his second album from 1959, I think. And so you got Bill Evans obviously on the piano, Sam Jones bass, Philly Joe Jones drums, yada yada. I mean, everybody knows about this record, and it's fantastic. I actually picked this up because I love the track Peace. Just wonderfully beautiful piece of just piano solo, basically, from Bill. Just super haunting and just beautiful. Yeah, wonderful. So yeah, this album obviously has that on, so I was very happy to pick that up. This is apparently a limited edition. I didn't know this when I ordered it, and when it arrived, I noticed that it was on this kind of orangey red vinyl, which is nice. And it's, what's the label for this? I don't actually know what the label is for this, actually. What does it say? Wax Time in Colour. Doesn't sound quite right, but yeah, they've obviously it's a label that, you know, under license perhaps, that reissues these records on coloured vinyl. So yeah, I'm always a bit dubious with coloured vinyl that they're not going to kind of sound great. And it's all right. I'm sure it's not probably the greatest the greatest pressing in the world, but at the end of the day, I've got the music, so I'm happy about that. Okay, moving on. Next one, another classic. This is only my second John Coltrane album. This is a reissue of Blue Train. Really, really enjoy this, particularly the title track and Locomotion, first track on side 2. I really, really enjoy. So Lee Morgan, trumpet. I've got a sidewinder, a couple of his. He's great. Kenny Drew, piano, Paul Chambers, bass. Philly Joe Jones again on the drums. So yeah, I'm starting to kind of get my head around the sort of the usual crew on who appear on these albums. And interestingly, I read online that this was only I think the only Blue Note recording that was made by John Coltrane, where he was the session leader. So yeah, bit of info there. I'm sure all the jazz experts out there knew that, but that was obviously new on me. So okay, so moving on. I've been sort of getting into library music fairly recently. And I was intrigued after Dale Gatefold 33 showed a video on sort of library music, and it really sort of piqued my interest. So I don't think he particularly showed these, but I did look these up online, and they've been reissued, and I was intrigued. So this is Keith Prowse Morris, or KPM. This is apparently a classic offshoot label of EMI that produced library music that was essentially a guy called Keith Mansfield, who wrote a lot of this music, sort of Hammond organ, keyboard player, arranger, composer. I mean, they just released dozens and dozens of these albums apparently back in the day, from the sort of late 60s through the 70s. And it's very contemporary music, obviously, of its time. But it's kind of interesting because it's, it was a lot of the music was recorded and used for TV themes, adverts, and various kind of incidental music. And it's amazing when you listen through these records how how you kind of, your ear picks up on things that you kind of recognize, even though the titles really of the songs don't really mean anything. They're meaningless, but they're really quite interesting. And these were reissues. They were fairly cheap. They're sort of between about 15 and 20 quid each. So we got this one. This is called Synthesis. So this is Brian Bennett and Alan Hawkshaw. This is vivid contemporary sounds for a fresh visual image. This was released in 1974. And then there's this one, which is The Big Beat. This was the first one I got, and this is a lot of kind of big band, really upbeat, vivacious kind of stuff. This was released in 1969. Just really, really interesting. I like the way they put the remarks obviously next to the titles, and the obviously the duration, so you get a kind of, I guess, for people who are using it, producers or whatever, for to fit the visuals. So exclusive blend, a big beat, tuneful upper tempo. Studio 69, big beat, fanfare, brass, melody line, etc., etc. So they're all, you kind of get the picture from that. This is the one I actually picked up today. This is called Voices in Harmony, and this is from 1973. This is probably my favorite of the three. There's a couple of tracks that just really stand out on this. Lovin Spoonful, and one called Liquid Sunshine, that's called Soft and Sentimental. It's just got a wonderful evocative kind of flute line running through it. I mean, some of it's a bit kitschy. Yeah, it's obviously dated, some of it, but it's just fantastically recorded music. And yeah, I mean, it's just nice to put on when you want something instrumental and just kind of drift off a bit. So it certainly does that, and I'll be investigating more of this stuff. So I think there's another library called Bruton Music as well, which I'm sort of looking into as well. So okay, so the last couple are a couple of reissues by a band that I've been long waiting for, who I really like. I've got a lot of their stuff on CD when they were reissued in the 90s. They're definitely a favourite band of mine. And my brothers, we really, really, really appreciate this band. I know there's a lot of you guys out there that like them too. And yeah, when I looked online, I was delighted to see that these had been reissued. So, okay, so this is the Kinks, and obviously their classic Village Green Preservation Society from 1968. Yeah, absolutely just incredible record, pop record. Hasn't dated at all, still sounds great today. Hugely influential, obviously. 90s acts like Blur and so on. Just fantastic. Every single song on this is superb. Animal Farm, the title track. Do You Remember Walter? What a fantastic song that is. Probably in my top 3 or 4 Kinks songs of all time. Absolutely wonderful. Johnny Thunder, fantastic picture book, which I'm pretty sure they used it for an advert. Um, uh, going back a bit. Yeah, and then the wonderful Village Green as well, which was recorded I think in '66, but wasn't included on record until this album. Superb. Yeah, I was really tempted to get the 50th anniversary box set of this, which is all singing, all dancing, sort of three albums, 6 CDs, I think, with all extras and studio outtakes, alternate takes, etc., singles, the works, hardback book. But I just couldn't justify spending 120 quid or whatever it was. So not in one fell swoop like that anyway. But who knows, if it comes down in price, maybe I'll be tempted to grab it. So yeah, and then sticking with the Kinks, this is another one, favourite of mine that I never actually had on CD, but I love the tracks on this. This is Lola versus Power Man and the Money Go Round. So yeah, this was 1970. Ray Davis's kind of dig at the music industry, and so forth. Yeah, it's a great album. I really enjoyed listening to this again. It's been many years since I'd heard it. Yeah, the first side, brilliant. Strangers, fantastic. The second track, Money Go Round. I love Top of the Pops with the introduction as well. That's really fun. Lola, there's always been a bit of a kind of overrated song for me from the Kinks. I think Ray Davis wrote a lot better songs than that. Side 2, though, starts really strong. This Time Tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely on the money. One of my absolute top favourite songs of theirs. Yeah, obviously, and then you've got the single 8 Man, which is good fun. And Power Man and Got to Be Free, ending a fantastic record. So I'll just show this. So obviously you've got the reissue with the gatefold and the lyrics, although you'd have to have incredibly good eyesight to see that print. That's just really small. Yeah, I know there is an expanded edition of this, which they've done with quite a lot of them, but it still comes with this nice booklet with pictures of the artists and some write-up as well, quote from Ray Davis. Yeah, so really nice. I think this was about 20 quid, well worth the money. Funnily enough, after I'd actually ordered it, I then read an email vlog from somebody who'd actually said that that their pressing was a bit not great, very loud, crackly, etc. And apparently there's quite a few of pressings of this record that are like that. So I was kind of fingers crossed, hoping I wasn't going to fall foul of that. I mean, obviously, being through Amazon, it would be just no quibble. They just replace it. So not a problem there. So that's it, guys. So that's my January haul. So yeah, I spent quite a bit of money, so I'm pull the reins in a bit for February. Really missing going to the record shop, seeing Ben, and yeah, just getting back to normal. Record fairs, etc. Just thumbing through vintage vinyl. Really missing that. So, yeah, hopefully now they've got this inoculation program rolled out. Hopefully we won't be in this situation for too much longer. But anyway, guys, all the best. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and as they say, stay safe. Cheers, guys. Bye bye.